the techniques that I teach in the release phase of off man, all right, we use a pace technique. So when we use a pace technique, that means I'm starting out slow, all right, and now as that route gets up the field, I increase the tempo of my back pedal, all right. In the session, footwork and change of direction drills, we explained the pace and we showed the pace and how that should look. So again, we start out slow and then we increase the tempo of the pedal. Again, we will be in a staggered stance, all right, whether I'm a left-footed stance as a left corner or right-footed stance as a right corner, we be in a staggered stance if we're playing off man, all right? I tell my guys this all the time. If I'm playing man coverage, I should have man eyes, all right? Nothing else. If it's man coverage, man eyes, all right? So some guys teach guys to read the quarterback for 3-step in man coverage, and that's fine too. And I think that the older guys get, the more they can see, the better, all right, if a guy can't handle it. But younger guys, I typically tell them, hey, if it's man coverage, you got man eyes, forget about reading the quarterback for the quick game, all right? So when we're looking at that man, all right, I have them lock their eyes on a specific spot on that receiver. I want them looking at the belt buckle of that receiver. So I'm off, all right, but I'm still keeping my eyes on the belt buckle of the receiver when I'm playing man coverage, all right? We have to understand that we have to have a great first step. We have to have a great first step. We don't want to false step when I'm playing off man coverage, all right? Because now if I do false step, now that receiver is getting up the field and I haven't moved anywhere. And what a false step is if I'm a left corner and I'm on a left-footed stance, all right, the first foot that should move should be my right foot. My right foot should move backwards first. I should be able to gain ground with that first step, all right? And again, I want to be slow, but I still want to gain ground, all right? If there's ever a time where I false step, meaning now I'm pulling myself, all right, with that right foot, if I'm that left corner, all right? Now I haven't gained any ground while that receiver's running up the field and I'm in man coverage, so I'm putting myself at a disadvantage. So we have to have a great first step, all right? Again, we may have to match the release of that receiver. If that receiver is stemming hard inside and I'm playing man coverage, now I have to use a weave, all right? So now I have to execute that weave where I'm staying square, but now I'm pedaling at an angle. Again, keeping my hip square, keeping my shoulder square to the receiver, but pedaling at an angle, all right? And we have to make sure that we are under control at all times, because if anything sits down in front of me, I want to be able to plant and drive and accelerate to that receiver as quickly as possible. But if I'm out of control and I'm backpedaling too fast, then I make it that much harder for me to plant and drive to anything that sits down in front of me, all right? So here's a weave. Again, so if we get a receiver that starts out stemming hard off the line of scrimmage, and this can be done in one line like I have the guys doing here, and we can also have a receiver in front of him where he stems hard inside and force that defensive back to keep leverage on him. But again, we want to use a weave right here. So if I'm playing man coverage on a guy, he's stemming hard inside, all right, I want to be able to stay square, but I still want to be able to gain some depth as I go. I want to gain width and gain depth, all right? Same deal here with the next guy. I want to be able to get width and get depth. So a lot of the footwork and change of direction drills that we do on a daily basis are really drills that can be used for man coverage, for off-man coverage in particular. All right? These are all good drills for off-man coverage. Is that just your everyday footwork, change of direction drills. All right? Here's the next thing. We have to understand that we have to keep a cushion. We have to keep a cushion on that receiver. I got to keep that guy in front of me. So here's a cushion drill that I use. Again, we start out with a pace because I'm playing man coverage, all right? And now I have to keep that receiver in front of me. If he breaks that 3-yard cushion, all right, now I want to crossover run, all right? The closer he gets to me, now I want to be able to get to speed and not allow that receiver to get on top and run past me. All right, here's one more time, just looking at cushion, all right? Keeping your cushion on that receiver he's playing man coverage. His eyes should be on that belt buckle, all right? He's starting to break my cushion, all right? Now I want to crossover run, and now I'm getting to speed. When we're playing man coverage, one thing that we want to do is we always want to hold that pedal, all right? We want to hold that pedal. I don't want to have too much of a cushion. If a guy is 5 yards or 6 yards in front of me, all right, I don't want to turn and run too early, all right? If I turn and run too early, now if they sit down in front of me, again, it's that much harder for me to plant and drive downhill on that receiver. So I want to hold that pedal. All right, just again, we have to have great eyes. If I'm playing man coverage, I got to have man eyes. All right, man coverage, so man eyes. So this drill here is simulating that the receiver just broke on the out. All right, he just ran it out on me. All right, so so the ball is inside to my left. All right, now he runs the out. I got to make sure I burn my eyes on that receiver. I'm locked in on that receiver. All right, and now I can look back for the football. All right, but again, training the eyes is really important when playing man coverage. It's really important when playing defensive back. All right. So now giving him a double move. All right. Now I backpedal. I use my pace technique. All right. I plant and drive on the out. And now he just gave me a double move. All right. So now, again, I have to sprint to that receiver, 2 steps to the man, making sure I keep my eyes on him before I look back at the quarterback. Again, when we're in man coverage, we should have man eyes. All right, so looking at playing some off man here in this situation, again, when we're playing off man, I have my guys use a pace technique. And here's a pace technique. Again, we start out slow. So let's focus on the corner up top. All right, the corner up top, he's got a stagger stance. He's in a right-footed stance, playing right corner. All right, he should be pushing off of that front foot, so his left foot should move first. He wants to gain ground with that first step. All right, gain ground with that first step. And as I mentioned, we want to hold that pedal, all right? Hold that pedal so we're not backing out of there and turning and running too early, all right? Again, we talked about situationals affecting how you play routes and man coverage. We talked about D&D. We talked about field zones. And in this situation right here, here's a 3rd and 7. So the corner up top understands that 3rd and 7, this particular team sits down in front a lot, and they go to the sticks. So you can see him using his pace technique. He's holding that pedal, all right, and he recognized that receiver's dropping his hips, all right. So if he's sinking his hips, now it's time for me to plant and drive, all right, as a corner, and he does a great job of breaking up the pass here. It's a good job of finishing, playing the hands. In the session, making plays on the ball and finishing, I'll talk more about phase 3 with finishing on the ball. All right, watching the corner down here at the bottom now, the right corner, he's in a right-footed stance. Again, he should be using a pace technique. All right, again, situationals, he should understand that situations should affect his technique. All right, this is a 3rd and medium situation where he should definitely use a pace. All right, so he should be slow out. All right, stay square, hold that pedal. All right, and then plant and drive in 45-degree angle downhill. We want to keep everything in front. So everything that we should do, we should be breaking downhill. If it's in front of me, I should be breaking downhill and never out to the side, straight at a 90-degree angle. This does a great job here of finishing and making a play on the ball. All right, the stem phase of off man, all right, meaning routes up the field. All right, so when we get routes going up the field now, all right, we should increase the tempo of the pedal. All right, so again, we start out with a pace, so we start out slow, but now the route is continuing to go up the field. All right, and that route keeps going up the field, again, I want to increase the tempo of my pedal. All right, again, if we have a second level stem, then we may have to use that weave that I was just showing. All right, and then we want to be able to turn and run. We want to maintain that 3-yard cushion, and then we crossover run again. Once he's even, I'm getting the speed.